now at 55. Great fights here, man. Win over Chandler, win over Patricky Freire, Patricky Pitbull, a win over Aoki, a win over Pat Curran, Roger Huerta. I mean, a true who's who, I guess. This person he's beat a lot of motherfuckers. Lost to some people too. 5 losses. He's lost to McGregor, Cerrone, Michael Chandler, Aoki, Nick Thompson. But he holds a record of what? 28 wins. 5 losses, 15 KOs. 7 submissions. Dude's got power for sure. And Alvarez will be standing at what? 5'7", 69-inch reach. The Underground King. 33 years old, though, not getting any younger. Let's take a peek at Poirier. Poirier, only 28 years old. Honestly, I thought he was probably older than that. He's been around for a long time, standing at 5'9", a little bit taller, 72-inch reach, a little bit better. He's got some good boxing as well. He fights out of ATT. Kind of an interesting matchup. Alvarez used to be with the Black Zillions in the same area there. Both of them brown belts in jiu-jitsu. For Poirier, he's coming off of a majority decision win over Jim Miller. Fight of the night back in February. That was actually a really sick-ass fight. Before that, KO'd by Michael Johnson. Just September of last year, first round KO. Got a win over Bobby Green, Joseph Duffy, Yancy Medeiros before that. But honestly, that's not nearly as impressive as you would like to see. The guy who just lost the belt, he's won 1 fight in a row. It's not traditional. It's not the traditional way they would do it in the UFC. Poirier standing there, 21 wins, 5 losses. 10 of them from knocking motherfuckers to the ground. 6 of them from choking people out and other things like that. What do I think here? So I think the Poirier has always had trouble with the higher echelon guys. I'll take a look at the record here. Knocked out by McGregor, knocked out by Michael Johnson, even Cub Swan. All of his wins basically are against, Chan Sung Young even. All of his wins, for the most part, he beat Max Holloway, but that was a long time ago. Probably wouldn't happen now. Are against people like Jonathan Brookins, or Akiri Coracini, or Carlos Diego Ferreira, or Yancy Medeiros, or even Joseph Duffy, Bobby Green. When you see him fight guys like McGregor, or guys even like a Cub Swanson, top 5 guys, he usually takes an L. Unless he has gotten significantly better, and I'd like to see one more fight, one more W in a row for him before I would make that decision. I think that he's probably going to struggle against Alvarez. Alvarez is a fucking bomb, dude. Like, he is, everybody thinks because he got knocked out by Conor, man, he got put in the fucking Conor spell like everybody else, that, we've all forgot about Eddie Alvarez. He was the fucking champ. He looked like a fucking monster. I'm pretty sure he was the betting favorite going into the fight against Conor as well. Hasn't fought since then, so we don't know what he looks like right now. He has had, November to 6 months? Is that 6 months to chill the fuck out? Alvarez is kind of used to being the underdog. Still gets wins anyway. He was the underdog against Rafael dos Anjos. He was the underdog, in a good majority of his fights. I don't have his fucking thing in front of me right now, but almost every time, to Michael Chandler, he was an underdog. To fucking Patricky Pitbull, he was an underdog. Bellator champ, UFC champ. The dude actually does rise to level. Honestly, if you just look at him, they look almost exactly the same. You might even think that Poirier looks a little better if you just watch him maybe spar or train or whatever. The thing about that is, when it matters, Eddie Alvarez shows the fuck up. And he looked like, he got knocked the fuck out by Conor, who was huge and just has this fucking left hand fucking stun gun that fucking he shoots at your ass. Southpaw against orthodox matchup. That's just really, really a difficult matchup for for Eddie Alvarez there. Poirier, tall too, like McGregor, in comparison. Right hand on right hand, though. Going to be a little bit different there, and probably not quite as powerful. Definitely not quite as powerful as McGregor. Alvarez ranked number 3, number 9 there for Dustin Poirier. And we have an odds of, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is confusing. Minus 130 for Poirier, plus 110 for Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez started at like a minus 140, and I guess all the fucking money is going to Poirier. You can catch me putting money on Alvarez plus 110. That's ridiculous. Well, not really, but I mean, that's the fact that you get positive money for an Alvarez win when he should be expected to do so. Sounds good to me, man. I'll take Alvarez in the fight. Alrighty. We move on to the main card. In the middleweight division, we have Krzysztof Jotko taking on ex-World Series of fighting middleweight and light heavyweight champion David motherfucking Branch. I'm sure everybody knows the World Series of Fighting recently went under and changed to the Professional Fighters League, where they're going to basically pay monthly salaries and give you 3 yearly or 4 yearly fights, basically the same way that you would have a playoff system even to determine the champions, just like a traditional sport. But in said process, they open up all of their contracts. Basically, all of their contracts are negated, and a lot of their champions are going to move over and have moved over to the UFC and Bellator. David Branch is one of them, probably their best. Let's take a look at what he's done recently. Let's see. He has won 10 straight fights. Most recently over Lewis Taylor, and that was December 31st of last year. 5th round rear naked choke victory there. Before that, unanimous decision over Vinny Magalhães, and that would be in October of last year. It's a big win there, a big name there. Clifford Starks before that. He has a win over Yushin Okami. All just defending belts and all this other shit. Lost to Rumble back in the day, back in 2012, excuse me. Has a loss to Paul Harris on his record from, 2011. Other than that, he's been balling lately. He's got a 20-3 record overall, 5 KOs, 7 submissions. Undefeated in the World Series of Fighting, 10-0. Most submission wins in the World Series of Fighting, 4. Pretty spectacular record here, other than the fact that it's against some random-ass people. David Branch is a bad motherfucker. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu under Renzo and the Bronx. 35 years old, standing at 6'1", 76-inch reach. Damn good reach for the middleweight division, honestly. Light heavyweight, not as traditional. That's not going to be his traditional, weight class or anything like that. Been in the World Series of Fighting, where, maybe the competition's a little bit less. He can definitely get away with that. Obviously, he's going to be a middleweight over here in the UFC. Pretty tall dude there, pretty big guy there. Not the biggest, but like Anderson-like reach, I would guess, something like that. Probably not Anderson, like striking, but, good reach there, long arms. He is currently unranked in the UFC, taking on the number 9 ranked middleweight, Krzysztof Jotko. Krzysztof Jotko has a record of 19-1, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions, decisions there. His only loss was a guillotine choke loss back in 2014 to Magnus Sedenblad. Performance of the night victory back last June over Tamdan McCrory. And that was just a KO 59 seconds into the fight. He had a unanimous decision victory over Thales Leites in November in Brazil. Pretty good there. Beat Brad Scott back in February. Scott Askham, split decision victory back in October. 27 years old, quite a bit younger than the 35-year-old Branch there. 6'1", same height, 77-inch reach, so a slight advantage there for him. He's going to be fighting out of ATT, just like everybody else. Everybody and their motherfucking uncle. Brown belt jiu-jitsu. Let's take a peek at the lines here. Christoph Jotko's the favorite, minus 156, plus 136 for David Branch. Surprising, honestly. Jotko doesn't have a terribly impressive resume. David Branch, the few people that he's fought, he has a better resume. I mean, Vinny Magalesh is on his resume, you know, people like that. And his, I don't know, lost a Rumble, that's not that fucking bad. Also, won multiple championships, been in the spotlight, defended championships. I find that really weird that you're getting all this World Series of Fighting hate from David Branch, honestly, from the public. I like Branch in the fight. If I had to pay, especially a plus 136, I'll probably be putting money on that as well. Jotko's a good fighter, but I don't know, man. The technical grappling skills of David Branch, even though they're both similar in belt, I guess they're not actually. Branch is black. Yeah, I mean, David Branch is probably going to win this fight. My guess is either going to be submission or possible decision, maybe a boring decision with a lot of grappling and dirty boxing and shit like that involved. I think David Branch wins the fight, though. All right, moving on. This fight's going to be fucking awesome. From the featherweight division, we have Frankie motherfucking Edgar. He is the number 2 ranked fighter in the featherweight division. He's going to be taking on Yair Rodriguez, the Mexican sensation. Yair ranked number 7. This is going to be a fucking fantastic fight. Great resume, obviously, for the ex-champ, Frankie Edgar. He, in November, had a unanimous decision victory over Jeremy Stevens. Good fighter there. UFC 205, UFC 200. For the interim UFC featherweight championship, he loses a unanimous decision to Jose Aldo. Definitely no shame in that. Aldo looked fantastic again. Before that, knocks out Chad Mendez in December of 2015. Unanimous decision over Faber. Submission over Cub Swanson. TKO over BJ Penn. Yada, yada. You see where we're going from here. Dude beat BJ Penn 3 fucking times. Twice when Ben was the champ. Or coming to get the championship back. We all know who he is. 21 wins. 5 losses. 6 by KO, 4 by submission, 11 by decision. All of his losses come by decision. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu under Ricardo Almeida. Renzo Gracie. Boxing with Mark Henry. Dude's got one of the best camps that exists. He's standing at 5'6", 68-inch reach, 35 years of motherfucking age there for Frankie. On the other side, Yair standing at 5'11", is going to have a 5-inch height advantage, 71 inches. So it's going to be a 3-inch reach advantage there. 10 wins, 1 loss. Black belt in Taekwondo, fighting out of Jackson Winklejohn. 4 KOs, 1 submission in his victory. His only loss comes as a knockout as well. Fighting from Mexico. Actually, he's not fighting out of Mexico. He's from Mexico, fighting out of Albuquerque, obviously, with Jackson Wink. Talk about BJ Penn. His most recent victory is, most recent fight, January of this year, Performance of the Night. TKO, front kick and punches victory over the aging BJ Penn. Before that, split decision victory over Alex Caceres, fight of the night there. Thought he underperformed in that one. Andre Fili, KO, flying head kick. We've all seen that shit. 24 years old, obviously younger, 11 years younger, an up-and-comer there. Maybe a better, I wouldn't say better, but he's fighting out of Jackson Wink. He's at least on par with the Toms River boys, Mark Henry, that whole situation. So that's at least a great step in his general direction as far as that's concerned. Haven't really seen him fight anybody, though. And honestly, a split decision victory over Alex Caceres, a split decision is not that impressive. BJ Penn, man, he looked like shit. BJ Penn looked horrible in this. He hadn't fought for fucking, literally, we all know what happened in that fight. Yair was heavy favorite going into the fight. It was like a 4-1 or 5-1, so it's no surprise that he's just going to let loose on BJ Penn. Way smaller, BJ Penn out of shape, all that fucking shit. I like Frankie in this fight. I think Frankie uses his wrestling, probably dominates. It's a 3-round fight. I see a unanimous decision victory. I'd be surprised, honestly, if Yair knocked out Frankie. I think I'd be